Alright, what's up guys? So tonight we're going to be unboxing my mealworms and putting them in their new enclosure. So I haven't done an update on my spider Devious for quite some time. So we'll do that at the end. So yeah, so first we'll set up this enclosure. So to start, I just fill the entire bottom with wheat mix. And we just want to make sure it's nice and fine, not too big. There we go. Just like that. Okay, so once you've filled it up with wheat mix, I've got this 1000 mealworms container here, and we just open them up. I'll show you guys what that looks like. So there we go, there's our spider food, and we just kind of gently deposit them. So this is the first time that I've put in this enclosure. So I'm just going to deposit them as much as I can without getting all this dust, and try and leave that behind. Then we'll have all this kind of dusty debris stuff. That's all rubbish. We don't want to put that in there. Alright. Okay, so at this point, that's what your mealworm enclosure should look like. Oh, we've got a freshly shed one just here, so we don't want to touch them. So we'll get on with adding our veggies. So you don't actually need to add any water in with mealworms. You just gently put the veggies in, and they eventually disperse all over the enclosure. You can use a mix of veggies. I'm just going to start with some cabbage and some carrots this week. And then next week I'll change up the enclosure once a week. It gets quite grubby. And we'll just gently place these bits of cabbage. You can kind of tear them up a little bit to make it easier for them to get to. Just like that. I'm going to grab a small pile of mealworms and kind of gently, ever so gently, kind of scatter them around the cabbage so they know they've got their enclosure. It's feeding time. Right. So this is what our mealworm enclosure will look like. As you can see, they're starting to have a really good feed already. So because of COVID, it actually did take these about a week to arrive. That's not too bad. Packages them really well. They always get here, and I only lose 2 or 3 of them, but obviously I will let them settle. And let's check on Devious and see how she's doing. She'll be ready for a feed in a couple days. Okay, so before we have an update, I suppose I'll just give her some water and check that her enclosure is still okay. So I fill up her water dish first, and then, thank you Charlie, and then I just gently drizzle the water around the moss to make sure it's nice and watered. Just like that. Right, so now I guess we'll get a zoom in and see what she's doing. The enclosure looks good. Right, so I've got a good looking enclosure. There's still no mould. See Devious is hiding in the back there. She's also decided to create a new hide just in here and another one at the back. So I don't want to stress her out too much, but we'll see if we can get her out. Oh, hello girl. Come say hello to your fans. So, yep, she's still doing very well and healthy. Oh, she's grumpy. That's what happens when you touch your spider, guys. Well, I didn't touch her, but that's what happens when you get too close and they don't want you to. They get a bit grumpy. Hey, girl. Looking good. Smile. Alright, so she's a couple of days off from her feed, so I'm going to leave her be to enjoy her night. So, yeah, like and subscribe, guys.